All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. Let's check it out.
On August 27th, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security announced the sudden cancellation of the long-standing visa validity system, which had been in place for over 40 years. This abrupt policy shift caused a strong reaction among the overseas Chinese community. For many, this system was seen as the foundation of immigration status stability. Its sudden removal has left those relying on it for maintaining legal status feeling anxious. What adds to the tension is that China has also recently tightened its household registration and immigration controls. Along with the U.S. policy changes, the pressure on Chinese nationals abroad has increased. The U.S. has been tightening up visa screening, immigration enforcement, and family reunification, while updating several older regulations. The stark contrast between long-term stability and sudden changes has intensified the uncertainty within immigrant communities. The change to the visa validity system marks the end of a more than 40-year history. It will undoubtedly have a deep impact on those holding relevant visas.
It will.
But there are reasons behind these developments. Let's take a look at the explanation provided by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. When announcing updates to visa and related regulations, the Department of Homeland Security used 5 cases, all of which involved misconduct by Chinese nationals. Case 1. Liu Zhongsan. On September 2019, Liu Zhongsan, the chief representative of the China International Talent Exchange Association's New York office, was accused by the FBI of fraudulently obtaining a J-1 visa. His true purpose for coming to the U.S. was to recruit American scientists for the Chinese Communist Party's high-end development program.
Wow,
He was
okay.
convicted in March 2022. Case 2.
Okay, that's wild.
Zheng Zhaosong.
I understand, though. I think we do something similar, though. But
In December of the same year, Zheng Zhaosong, a researcher working on cancer cell research at a medical center in Boston, was intercepted at the airport when attempting to return to China. Hidden in his luggage were 21 bottles of biological materials, and he was suspected of stealing intellectual property for the Chinese government.
I believe that completely.
Case 3. Ye Yanqing. In January 2020, Ye Yanqing, a lieutenant in the Chinese People's Liberation Army, applied for a J-1 visa, falsely claiming to be a student and concealing his military status. While studying at Boston University, he was executing tasks for the Chinese military, including investigating and evaluating U.S. military websites, gathering military documents and intelligence, and collecting personal data and research from 2 U.S. professors at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey and at the University of Texas at San Antonio.
Okay, guys, listen. Hear me out. The program that she's referring to absolutely has helped a lot of families out, a lot of people out, for real, right? But there are sometimes when we get too nice, right? People generally will take advantage of your niceness, and this is kind of one of these instances here where we're definitely encountering a group of people that are not every single person, obviously, but this group of people right here, right, that has decided to do a whole bunch of nefarious things here, guys.
This information was passed on to the Chinese military. Case 4. Wang Xin. In June 2020, Wang Xin, a Chinese scholar holding a J-1 visa and conducting research at the University of California, San Francisco, was accused of visa fraud. He had concealed his military officer status during his visa application, and under the direction of his military laboratory supervisor, attempted to smuggle research information from the university's laboratory back to China. Case 5. Chen Yunqing. In 2025, Chen Yunqing, a Chinese researcher at the University of Michigan, was accused of smuggling a harmful fungus called Fusarium graminearum. This fungus causes head blight in wheat, barley, corn, and rice.
Okay, that sounds like definitely something that could probably decimate an entire country's food stock, guys. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it's going to be used for some type of bio, problems.
Leading to billions of dollars in agricultural losses every year.
Right.
It also releases toxins that can cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive harm in humans and animals.
That's exactly what it sounds like
The
now.
FBI and the Department of Justice consider this act to be potential agricultural terrorism.
There we go.
And a severe threat to national security.
It sure is.
Additionally, the U.S. announced that starting September 2nd, 2025, there will be adjustments to the visa interview exemption policy. The new rule changes the previous exemption for children under 14 and seniors over 79 from having to attend a visa interview. Now, both groups will be required to appear in person at the consulate for their visa application interview. It's easy to imagine that if you need to bring children or elderly people to visa interviews, not only will the cost and effort increase, but the risk of being denied a visa will also rise. As for visa and immigration issues, President Trump's stance is clear. America first. On one hand, President Trump has expressed support for foreign talent. On August 25th, he said
That's
the
what I was
U.S. would
talking about
allow
earlier.
600,000 Chinese students to study in the U.S. and emphasized that without Chinese students, the U.S. university system would collapse. But just 2 days later, he introduced visa restrictions. So in the long run, U.S. policies on immigration and visas will become more restrictive. From these cases involving Chinese nationals, it's clear that the U.S. government is directly targeting the Chinese Communist Party, showing a strong stance against theft and infiltration by the CCP in the U.S. Let's start with the visa validity system that's been
All
in
right, let's
place
go.
for over 40 years. For example, the F1 student visa is one of the most common types of study visas in the U.S. It's a non-immigrant visa for international students enrolled in full-time academic programs. The validity period can be 1, 5, or even 10 years, depending on the applicant's nationality and U.S. policy. The validity of the visa only means it's a ticket to enter the U.S., not the length of stay in the country. This means as long as the person maintains their student status, they can legally stay in the U.S. with no fixed expiration date. Only when their studies are completed will F1 students have a 60-day grace period to prepare for departure, change of status, or apply to continue their studies.
And that change of status is incredibly expensive, guys.
If they drop out, work illegally, or fail to maintain their academic status, their student status is immediately terminated. An expired visa doesn't equate to an expired status. As long as the person is in the U.S. and maintains legal status, they can continue studying even after the visa expires. The F1 visa validity system is based on whether the student maintains their status, with no fixed expiration date. In other words, in the
That's fair.
past, international students and visiting scholars with F1 visas could stay in the U.S. for many years, as long as they maintained their student status, regardless of whether their visa expired. However, many took advantage of this loophole and used various methods to continuously obtain and maintain their student status, allowing them to legally stay in the U.S. for 10 to 20 years. But with the new regulations from the Department of Homeland Security, the validity of F and J visas will now be limited to a maximum of 4 years. After that, if they want to stay in the U.S., they'll need to reapply and undergo a new review. It's worth noting that the new regulations offer some special consideration for Chinese nationals. While the I visa for foreign journalists is generally valid for 240 days, Chinese journalists are only given 90 days. When questioned about this, the U.S. response was direct. How does
Let's hear
Beijing
it.
treat American journalists?
Right.
Although these new rules don't directly target green card applicants, they have a significant impact on those who plan to adjust their status to permanent residency after completing their studies or exchanges.
Okay, guys, the reason why I kind of said yes in that last context here is that, guys, by trade, I am a photographer. I have cameras all around me consistently, right? Videographer, et cetera, et cetera. So I have been hired to film things in over, 140 countries, right? And China, Morocco, Egypt, guys, there are a couple of places that I can just tell you this right now. They do not like people with a camera, right? I am not a journalist, all right? I've never been one. I'm a photographer, guys, all right? And so with that being said here, yeah, there's some places that absolutely treat us terribly. So I don't know why when we would allow foreign journalists to come into our country, and journalize, let's say this here in this context here, guys, right? Because they do not like us out there, guys. Not specifically that here. Now, I do understand why we're tightening things up, guys. China specifically has a massive issue with intellectual property theft. Okay, and the fact that that is a thing, and then the fact that we have 5 cases here where at least 3 of them were basically dabbling in someone else's intellectual property that they were trying to basically pilfer and bring back to the CCP. Imagine.
For those who want to apply for a green card after the fixed stay period ends, failure to submit an extension or adjustment of status application on time could result on illegal stay after the expiration, which may affect their eligibility or trigger penalties, such as a 3 or 10-year ban on re-entry. Especially for students or visiting scholars planning to apply for H-1B status or a green card, they must carefully plan and submit extension or status adjustment applications ahead of time. Even those who have obtained a green card, especially those who want to keep their Chinese household registration while also residing abroad long-term, may now be forced to choose a side.
Absolutely.
In the face of increasing pressure from both China and the U.S., it's important to consider where to go from here.
Like at this moment specifically, my wife is actually going through this process here. she's gonna like whenever she actually gets full-blown citizenship, she in fact is going to have to choose a side here. But she's coming from Spain.
This is because China is gradually tightening regulations on whether those holding foreign green cards will have their Chinese household registration revoked. Let's first look at the official explanation from China. According to the Chinese State Council's Overseas Chinese Affairs Office, if someone has obtained long-term or permanent residence rights in another country and has lived there for a total of at least 18 months within 2 consecutive years, they're considered to have settled abroad. If they haven't obtained long-term residency but have legally lived abroad for 5 years with at least 30 months of cumulative residence, they're also considered to have settled abroad.
Okay.
And once these criteria are triggered, their Chinese household registration will be revoked. At that point, those holding foreign green cards and living abroad long-term will lose their household registration in China. These individuals will be regarded as overseas Chinese and can only live in China using their passports, meaning they won't have a Chinese mainland ID anymore.
Wow.
A blogger explains in a recent video.
长期居住在国外的华侨，户口为何会被注销？
Recently, some overseas Chinese nationals have inquired about a situation where they have lived abroad for a long time, still hold Chinese nationality, but found that their household registration and ID had been canceled by the Chinese police. This is mainly due to the police, based on their need for household registration management, taking measures to avoid unused household registrations. In fact, the Ministry of Public Security issued a regulation in 2003, stating that those who have lived abroad for more than 1 year don't need to cancel their household registration.
We'll do it for you.
Those
We
who
got
have
you.
settled abroad must cancel it.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and leave it here. Let's see where we're going. We're kind of going off topic slightly. I'm going to leave the link for you guys to watch the rest of it in the description if you guys choose to or desire to, right? But here's the thing. That's a crazy thing to encounter. I do wish that the United States of America had something like that, similar at least. But I'm also glad at the same time, I'm kind of 50-50 on that specifically, guys, because I have spent well over a decade outside of the United States of America, like outside of it completely, like not coming back at all, just gone. Nowadays, obviously, I come back, right? I mean, I'm half the year in the United States of America, half the year in Spain. But I do wish that America specifically was like, hey, listen, you've been going for a while. Don't worry, you're not utilizing any of our government anything, so you can, you're not even using our road. So why are we taxing you? Because that's a thing that happens. And that's a crazy thing that happens. But I will say, though, it's better than in some of the countries, I'd say. Like, listen, American tax is wild. It's wild. But it's not as bad as Europe. Europe is terrible, bro. Taxes? Jesus Christ, guys. I'm happy that I at least, was able to maintain my citizenship, obviously, outside of, for literally not living in the United States of America, full permanent, literally, I'm a permanent resident of Spain. And then, but before Spain, I was a permanent resident in South Korea, right? And so, just understand this here, guys. I do wish that some of these things could, mainly the taxes. 'Cause I hate taxes. I hate them. I don't like taxes. Taxes are stupid. They're not stupid. We need taxes. So I think we need a little bit of taxes, obviously, but there needs to be some like settled abroad type of thing where they would like lower your taxes because you're literally not utilizing anything, nothing. I'm not using nothing you guys are giving me. Nothing. I'm not even here. So why do I have to still pay taxes? Right, we need something like that or something. Something like that, guys, at least. But all right, listen, guys, if you guys do want to finish the video, again, it's going to be in the description. Name of the channel the video came from is called China Observer. And in the meantime, if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I will catch you guys later, all right?